You know that feeling, right? It's late on a Sunday night, or maybe it's New Year's Day, and this switch just flips in your brain. You decide right then and there that you are going to completely reinvent your entire life. A total reboot. This massive wave of motivation hits, and you're like, that's it. Tomorrow, I'm up at 5 a.m., I'm running 5 miles, I'm learning a new language, and I'm never scrolling in bed again. For a moment, you feel totally invincible. But then, of course, Tuesday morning rolls around and, well, we're right back where we started. So here's our game plan. We're going to tear down the willpower myth, get into the incredible power of just getting 1% better, and figure out how to survive that phase of invisible progress. Then we'll talk about identity, which is huge, and then get into the nuts and bolts, the 4 laws of change. And we'll wrap up with a final audit. Let's dive in.
Look, that whole cycle, the reinvention followed by the inevitable crash and burn, that is a profoundly human experience. And the guilt that comes after, oh man, it's just as common as the failure itself. We're taught to think that if we can't stick to something, it's a moral failing. We tell ourselves we're just weak or that we don't have enough discipline.
So you're left asking yourself this question again and again. Why can't I just do it? We think we just don't want it badly enough. But what if that whole way of thinking is just wrong?
And this right here, this is the big idea, the paradigm shift at the heart of James Clear's Atomic Habits. The argument is that you don't have a willpower problem, you have a design problem. It's not about being weak or undisciplined. It's that your system is broken and your environment is basically set up for you to fail.
So, okay, if it's a design problem, how do we fix it? Well, we start treating habit building like it's a science. We're going to stop relying on motivation, which, let's be honest, comes and goes. Instead, we're going to start building better, more reliable systems.
The name of the game is right there in the word atomic. It actually has 2 perfect meanings here. First, atomic means something incredibly tiny, right? A 1% improvement, a change so small you'd barely even notice it day to day. But atomic also refers to the atom as this fundamental building block of a huge system, the source of immense power. Put them together and you get the whole idea. Our tiny daily habits are the atoms of our lives.
And the math on this, it is absolutely staggering. If you get just 1% better at something every single day for a year, you don't just get a little better. Thanks to the magic of compounding, you end up 37 times better than when you started. 37x. But, and this is the scary part, the reverse is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, you basically grind yourself down to 0.
Okay, but here's the problem. That math sounds great, but it feels totally disconnected from our daily lives. Why? Because our brains are not wired for this kind of patient, long-term stuff. They're wired for instant gratification. Our ancestors needed to find food today, not plan for next year's harvest. So when you make that 1% improvement, your brain looks around, sees no immediate result, and basically says, well, that was a waste of time. This is the huge psychological wall we all hit.
So let me paint you a picture, because there's this brilliant metaphor for this. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room that's 25 degrees. You start slowly heating the room, 26 degrees, 27, 28, all the way to 31. You've been putting in all this energy, but you look at the ice cube and what's happened? Absolutely nothing. It's still just a block of ice. And this right here is the moment we give up.
But then, you crank the heat just 1 more degree, to 32, and bam, the breakthrough happens. The ice starts to melt. Now that last degree wasn't magic, it was just the tipping point. All that work you did from 25 to 31 degrees wasn't wasted, it was being stored. Your progress was there the whole time, it was just invisible.
So, the big question is, how do you keep going when you're stuck at 31 degrees? You have to change how you measure success. You got to stop obsessing over the outcomes, the lagging indicators on the left, like weight lost or the finished book. Instead, you have to focus all your attention on the inputs on the right, the leading indicators. Did I complete my workout today? Did I write my words today? You fall in love with the process, and you trust that the outcome will take care of itself.
Now, to really make this stick, to stop quitting when it feels like nothing's happening, we have to start somewhere else entirely. Real, lasting change doesn't start with what you want to achieve. It starts with who you want to become.
Think of it like this, right? There are 3 layers to changing your behavior. Most of us start on the outside, with outcomes. I want to lose 20 pounds. Some of us get to the next layer, process. I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. But the most powerful changes start from the inside out, at the very core, identity. This is a core belief. I am an athlete.
So how do you build a new identity? You can't just tell yourself you're an athlete and expect your brain to believe it. No way.
You have to prove it to yourself. And this is where the voting idea comes in. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the person you want to be. Doing 10 push-ups is a vote for I'm an athlete. Writing 1 page is a vote for I'm a writer. No single vote decides the election, but you just keep casting them day after day. Eventually, you build up so much evidence that it becomes undeniable. You're not just hoping you're that person, you know you are. You've got the receipts.
All right, so that's the why. That's the foundation. But how do you actually cast those votes, day in and day out, especially when you don't feel like it? This is the how. This is where we open up the toolkit and get into the 4 laws of behavior change. Think of these as the gears of the whole system.
And what you see here is the whole framework, all in one simple table. It's so elegant. To build a good habit, you've got 4 steps. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. And to break a bad habit, you just flip every single one of them on its head. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Let's start with Law 1, make it obvious. The goal here is to stop thinking. A fuzzy goal like I'll meditate more is basically useless. Instead, you get super specific with an implementation intention. I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my living room. The decision is already made for you. Even better, you can use habit stacking, where you bolt a new habit onto one you already do. After I pour my morning coffee, I will do 2 minutes of stretching. Your coffee is now the automatic trigger.
Next up, Law 2, make it attractive. Our brains are wired to move toward the promise of a reward. We can hack this with something called temptation bundling. You pair something you want to do with something you need to do. Like, I will only listen to my favorite podcast while I'm doing my cardio. Even more powerful, though, is engineering your social circle. We have this deep biological urge to fit in with our tribe. So if you want to get fit, join a running group. You want to read more, join a book club. Make your desired habit the normal thing to do.
Okay, before we hit Law 3, we have to talk about a huge trap that gets almost everyone, the difference between motion and action. Motion on the left is all the planning, researching, and strategizing. It feels productive, but here's the key. There's no risk of failure. Action on the right is actually doing the thing. We get stuck in motion because it's a way to feel like we're making progress without actually having to risk failure.
And that brings us perfectly to Law 3, make it easy. The whole point is to lower the barrier to action so much that you can't say no. The magic tool here is the 2-minute rule. You take any new habit and you scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes. Read every day becomes read 1 page. Do yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. You see, the point isn't to get results in those 2 minutes. The point is to master the art of showing up, because you can't improve a habit that doesn't exist.
And finally, Law 4, make it satisfying. The problem with most good habits is that the reward is way off in the future. Our brain wants that dopamine hit now, so we have to create a little immediate reward. The simplest way is a habit tracker. Physically crossing off that X on a calendar gives you a little hit of satisfaction. It's visual proof you cast your vote for the day. And when you inevitably have an off day and miss one, that's fine. The cardinal rule is never miss twice. 1 day is an accident. 2 days is the start of a new, bad habit.
So you did it. You follow the laws, you built the habit, it's automatic. You can just coast now, right? Well, not quite. There's actually a hidden danger with good habits. Once something becomes totally automatic, you stop paying attention. You go into autopilot. And you can get really good at being just okay. You become efficiently mediocre because you're not consciously trying to improve anymore.
And this all leads us to one last really provocative idea. We've been talking this whole time about how to build a good environment. But what if your current environment is already perfectly engineered for your worst habits? Without you even realizing it, your home, your office, they might be perfectly designed to make the things you want to stop doing completely obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Take a look around you, right now, your desk, your kitchen, your living room. What is this space truly designed for? What behaviors does it encourage? Because auditing your world isn't just about adding good cues. It's about finally seeing the invisible architecture that might be perfectly designed to support the very person you're trying to stop being. And seeing that system is the first step to finally taking it apart.